which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Christina, call the roll, please.
Clark. David. Fish. Jorgensen. Cole. Parliament. Lundberg.
Here. First thing on our agenda is to approve the agenda as revised. From our original agenda during the briefing meeting, we eliminated item number 9A2, which was the Landscape Unlimited Design Build Flood Repair Contract. That's been eliminated. Any other changes from the administration?
Nope.
With that, can I have a motion to approve as revised? Motion is second to approve the agenda as revised. Any questions?
Will that contract be at the next meeting then?
If not sooner.
Okay.
So.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have two sets of meeting minutes. Easy for me to say. Briefing meeting on July 1st and a regular meeting on July 6th. If I get a motion to approve as presented. Motion is second to approve two sets of minutes from July 1st and July 2nd as presented. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Bills and claims were submitted with the agenda, a total of $1,825,917.25. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second to approve the bills and claims as submitted with the agenda. Any questions, comments from council? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Under the consent calendar, we have 4 plats that need to be approved. Can I have a motion? Motion is second to approve the consent calendar as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports. Under the golf course, we have a request from the Chamber of Commerce to waive the catering fee for their golf outing on July 30th.
Mayor, we need to have visitors and timed items.
Visitors and timed items. Anybody wishing to address the council may do so at this time. See, I was before myself. I knew that there was nothing there. Very good. Nobody? Now I would entertain a motion to approve the waiver of the catering fee for the Chamber of Commerce golf outing on July 30th.
Second.
Motion is second to
Quick
approve.
question.
Go ahead.
Is this going to be a one-time thing or ongoing?
No, it's a one-time thing for their golf outing.
Did they just not have that budgeted in there?
No, we've usually entered.
Yeah, typically in the past, the Chamber and Community Foundation have submitted a waiver if they use the upstairs room or for food to essentially not have us charge them the surcharges for those things for the use of the golf course facility.
Do we typically do that for all, like, city functions, let's say, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, those kind of things, yeah. Yeah, if it was just some private event that wanted it, it probably wouldn't be something I would recommend being approved.
Good, that's kind of what I was wondering.
Any other questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have to approve a West Nile grant agreement in the amount of $2,415.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion is second to approve the West Nile grant agreement as presented by the administration. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Under public safety, we have a report from the police department and fire department in your board packet for your review. MedStar quarterly report. Anybody present to present that, or just?
No, Jay can't make it tonight, but if you would like him, he can certainly show up at the August 2nd. the next council meeting.
One on the police department, I've got nothing but zeros on this, is it's on the one I'm showing.
There's some on the second page.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a desire on the part of the council to have Mr. Major in person present?
I have a question. I noticed on the reports that listed out the EMT paramedic presence on all the months except for February. That did not give us that data, so I would be interested in knowing that.
I think that was addressed in February, or at our last meeting, that's just, we got both quarters here. I think we talked about that,
In the first quarter report?
yeah.
I don't recall it, but could be.
Personally, I'd like to have him here, just for the fact that I haven't met him before.
Brian, can you get him here next meeting to review the report and go from there? Very good. We have 2 wage adjustments for 2 police officers, Anthony Lingen and Zach Hagstrom, both going to $23.90 an hour. If I get a motion to approve those 2 wage adjustments.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the wage adjustments for Anthony Lingen and Zach Hagstrom. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
All right,
Opposed? Motion carries.
I guess I do have a quick question.
Go ahead.
On these annual renewals, is that a certain set percent?
The annual ones that we're doing are step adjustments based upon their performance reviews.
Okay.
And then if we do a COLA adjustment, that's usually in January.
You gotta push it, push it on the side.
Okay, so I thought we did an anniversary one. And is that a COLA one, or how do these work?
COLA in January is typically based upon the CPI
Yeah.
for the preceding 12 months. And then we've got a step schedule that's 20 steps, so based upon their performance review, if it's an adequate performance review, they move up to the next step.
Okay.
So these 2, I think, were on, my computer's updating, so I think they were on step 9. So based upon their review, they move on to step 10, since it was adequate.
And this,
Is that an annual
Yep.
adjustment then?
Yep, we do that on their anniversary dates.
Okay,
for all city employees.
Yep,
we're also.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Under the administration, we have Resolution 17-20, the first item, which is approve the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund loan in the amount of $5,687,000 for our water tower project. I have a motion to approve on that.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the state revolving loan fund in the amount of $5,687,000 for our water tower treatment, or water tower project. Any questions?
So Tammy, when are we thinking we'll get started on that?
We hope to bid it out this fall, probably in November, and so they'll start construction early next year.
And new guy has a question again. Is it just the water tower, or is there something else involved in this?
There's a couple other items. There's a pressure reducing valve that in a building that'll be over kind of by the golf course. There's a cul-de-sac just east of the golf course, and we own a couple lots there, and we'll put up a small building there. So there's a few other upgrades, but the majority of it's the water tower.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 18-20 is the execution of the documents with the state of South Dakota for the receipt of the CARES Act funds in the amount of $2,277,488. Brian, you gave a slight review in the briefing meeting. Would you like to reiterate that?
Sure. You know, the state received 1.25 billion from the federal government for COVID relief. Our share of that, the state's determined to be a little over $2.2 million for COVID relief or COVID supplies, COVID mitigation strategies. The largest single expenditure that we would have that's approved by the feds in the state is the wages and benefits for the police department. Other than that, we've got supplies. It'll cover some legal expenditures for developing that ordinance. But masks, PPE for the police department, public works, golf course, park and rec. You know, looking at it right now, we'll probably have a little bit over $1 million in trackable expenditures that were for COVID. You know, we'll take a look at seeing if we can get some reimbursement aid for the fire department and or MedStar. Highly unlikely, but we will certainly ask. We're working with CCOG. We've got a administrators meeting phone conference Wednesday to get some more clarification from the state.
Is this something that if we incur more costs before the end of the year, we can also submit for those? Or?
This is for all costs from March 1st through December 31st.
Other questions?
Yeah, you said you had a CCOG meeting, so I'm assuming you'll be able to find out from some of the other administrators what type of expenses
Yep.
there.
Yeah, one of the things, 2-3 weeks ago, the last conference call we had, Yvonne Taylor at the Municipal League has volunteered to keep a kind of a database or a spreadsheet of some ideas that everybody's working on, because not all of the CCOG type entities in the state are on the same page with what's a reimbursable expense and what isn't. So they're working through that, but as cities come up with ideas or legitimate expenses that they've incurred, they're sharing that with everybody.
Okay, any lost revenue at the golf course that would be eligible?
Revenue replacement is not eligible,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
You need a
Opposed?
motion.
Need a
Need a
motion.
motion.
Boy, I'm struggling. Motion and a second to approve the resolution for the CARES Act funds, Resolution 18-20. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number D3, discussion on a tree dump site. Dana?
I've been asked about this before in the community, and then there was a post on social media that gained some attention, and I've had a few more people reach out since then. So the short version is, you know, we've got the emerald ash borer situation, and people are having to remove those trees in a lot of situations. So I think it would be really nice if we could, from the city's perspective, provide them with a space to do so with very limited parameters. And a little back story for those that are maybe watching the video. Some of the obvious choices are problematic. McCarty Park, I know, has been used in the past for emergency situations following ice storms, for example, but that it needs to be very limited and short term because of the flood zone. As I understand it, we can't pile a bunch of branches and then have them get shipped down the river. And then Aspen Park is another, you know, thought process that a person goes to, but that's got its own challenges because we're looking at several different plans for that, including a second entrance. So I guess what I'd like us to consider or talk about tonight is maybe having a location at the old ponds and making it very limited. The wood can't be moved between Memorial Day and Labor Day, as I understand it. So, you know, I guess I would even envision if we could provide a couple dates in April and a couple dates in October. Maybe we charge, maybe we don't charge, but I think it'd be a great thing for our community. The other thought with that. You know, we've got a couple of places listed in the brochure that we put out, which I thought was a great brochure, by the way. But those locations are 20 and 22 miles away. And I think of our community as being a community that really likes to help each other. And people are always volunteering to help their neighbors and families and friends and coworkers out. So I could see there being some momentum if we had a place locally for disposal of these trees. You know, people would help their neighbors to just take it down to the pond. I think some of that is going to go by the wayside when they have to drive 22 miles with those branches. So I think it would mean a lot to our residents if we could do something like that. And whether we pay for the chipping or we maybe recruit the fire department for some burning. I just wanted us to have an initial conversation.
Well, I've got a question for Damon again. Have you thought about any other locations for the city? Because the way it sounds to me like you needed a spot as well, so.
Yeah, no, apart from the obvious ones, I haven't come up with any better ideas either, unless we purchase land outside of city limits or something like that, but I don't know how realistic that is. But yeah, we're going to be dealing with the trees a long time ourselves, so we do need, and even after that, you know, we're always cutting down trees, trimming trees, random ice storms, so we will need a tree pile indefinitely, basically.
Does the ponds work for you?
It works for me. That might be a better question for the Public Works Director, but, you know, it all depends on the layout. I know, you know, they're planning their shop area, things like that. It all depends on how all that falls out, and if you can find a spot where it would fit. It is an easy spot to gate off. It already has a gate, so that portion is kind of done, but the rest of that depends on the layout of the shop and how much space they need, things like that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you said the ash tree removal will be the next 10 years? I foresee us building a shop before 10 years, so I don't like the idea. As a matter of fact, I put it in the budget to start design for the new shop this year, so, or 2021, so. It'd be pretty tough to isolate too with the gate, because the gate is somewhat operational. Construction down there is damaged a little bit too, so it's I guess in my mind I don't think it's the right place. I kind of agree with Devin. We're going to need something in the future. Kelly from the golf course is going to need something. They're constantly cutting trees too, so we need to find a piece of land where we could have that site, fence it off. It could be operated on a weekend or something, you know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just for ash trees, so it's my thoughts.
Any ideas where?
Outside of town, wherever you could find the land to purchase at a decent price. And it doesn't have to be 20 miles out or anything like that, but.
So could we use it for a couple years until we're ready to build? I mean, we gotta have some time to find some land.
Yeah.
So, as
Well,
a
like I say,
alternative.
it depends on if they start doing design, they're gonna have to stake it. They'll do a survey and everything on it, so I don't know what that's all gonna involve. If they gotta work around tree piles and stakes are missing and everything, it might be a problem, so.
In my mind, if that was the case, if we know it's gonna need survey, then you get a chipper in there and get them out of their way. You just gotta work through the process, at least for a temporary measure.
The problem is with Sukup, the last time I think it was, we asked them to come in and they ended up being delayed by over 3 weeks because of the chipper being broke down. There's not a big call for parts for those, so they have to kind of wait to have some of their stuff manufactured. So, yeah, you could say we could do it in October, but then 3 weeks later, we could have snow on the ground and the chipper's not going to want to come in there.
Burning would be an option though too, right? If we watched for a calm day and recruited the fire department, that
As
could
long as
be,
the fire department approves it, because it's in city limits.
right?
I wouldn't recommend burning at the pond site. A lot of this or a lot of this tree, they're still gonna be somewhat green. So they're gonna smolder, they're gonna smoke. We had an issue with odors at the pond, so just my thoughts, we would not want to burn the trees at the pond site. That's gonna blow the smoke into either Stone Ridge or into, the Seth area.
We did try burning a couple piles this spring and they did not burn, just because they're newly cut trees, which don't like to start up, and then they're, at that point in time, I'm sure they were a little damp too, but.
So my thoughts is, Brian, do you look for land then, or what do we do? Like, do we figure out, like, outside of city limits, like, what our options are? And how much land do we need?
Yep, I was
If this
just
is gonna
making
be a reoccurring,
some notes here. I think what we should probably do is have staff develop a tree dump site plan. You know, how many acres do we need? How are we gonna control access to it? That's one of the regulations from the state, is that we have to control access to it. Where do we want it? You know, we can certainly take a look at temporary locations versus a more permanent one. And then just operationally, how we're gonna operate it. How we're gonna dispose of the trees. Are we gonna chip them? We're gonna burn them? We're gonna have it staffed? What are the hours to staff it? You know, we can probably estimate the volume of trees that we're going to do. Are we going to allow, who are we going to allow to use it? As far as residents go, we're going to allow tree companies to use it, because most of those tree companies that cut trees down have a disposal site of their own. So there's a number of things that we can take a look at, and we'll get together as a staff and start thinking about some of these operational issues.
yeah, my thoughts are, hearing from the city, from Devin and Raleigh, I feel like it's a need for the city. And then to me, it's a bonus if we could offer something, like I would say once in the fall, once in the spring to our residents if possible, and you guys can decide that. But just hearing what the city needs first, kind of like what the mayor said last time at briefing, we do have great, Marv's, you can call them and they'll come and pick that up for you. But for the residents, but I do feel like if there's maybe 2 days a year, but I think if the city needs something, maybe it's something we look into. Those are my thoughts.
Other comments?
I think we need to look into it, there's no doubt. So so Brian, if you can come up with some sort of a plan that we can at least take a look at, working with your guys a little bit.
We'll leave that, at that, we'll have the administration come up with a plan in a future meeting
Yeah.
or two,
Yep,
and report back to the council what you come up with.
yep.
One more quick comment. Are there any nearby tree service dump sites that we could possibly contract with those?
I
Tree
made a note,
services?
the most prevalent tree service in town is Champion. I made a note to give him a call
Yeah,
and talk.
maybe
to
he's
him.
got some ideas.
Yep.
Okay.
And I would just ask we leave it as the placeholder on the agenda so we keep after it and it doesn't end up one of those,
Well, there probably won't be anything until September.
okay, well, that's kind of what we were doing for a while with placeholder spots. I thought that worked really well to make sure that we didn't forget about topics.
Okay, moving on, item D4, we have a wage adjustment, annual adjustment for Tammy Jansma at $36.44 an hour. Can I have a motion to approve? Motion is second to approve adjustment for Tammy Jansma at $36.44 an hour. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item E2, we have a pay app number 4 for the core area project to Sukup Construction in the amount of $429,698.28. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Motion is second to approve pay app number 4 to Sukup Construction. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item F1 is pay app number 5 on well number 8 in the amount of $386,244.45 to Metro Construction. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve pay app number 5 to Metro Construction. Any questions, comments?
Quick question, yeah. Unless I haven't got to it yet, my pay app says number 4. And then June and July crossed out. What am I missing? Oh, I haven't got to it yet, okay.
Core area is pay app number 4 on the agenda, and well number 8 is pay app number 5.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. F2, we have a pay app number 10 for the Main Street Interceptor Project to H&W Contracting in the amount of $388,726.47. Entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion is second to approve pay app number 10 to H&W Construction. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 10, under new business, we had our financial reports for the month of June in our packet today. Any questions on that from the council?
Not on the financial reports, but could I ask Raleigh real quick on our water usage? Just to kind of get an update on that, because I think we're starting to have some potential issues.
I actually turned out 2 violations again today. Water usage has ticked up. We used, let's see, Friday was 1.4, Saturday 1.5, or excuse me, Thursday 1.4, Friday 1.5, Saturday went back down to 1.4, and then Sunday was 1.5 again. So we're 100,000 gallons away from hitting stage yellow. So the technical difficulty was just something with the water tower communication. We're in the process of working on that right now with Alliance Communication. We're gonna put fiber optic to it, so it's more real time. It's using a radio right now. And I'm not sure what caused it, but other than the power went out too, so. And then the battery backup failed, so. When it hits, it all hits at the same time. It's not just once.
So how long will it take Alliance to put a fiber in?
They thought they had the fiber pretty much laid out to the bottom of the tower. The only thing we got to do is get it inside the bottom and the base of the tower there, which shouldn't be too big of a deal. One of my guys that's working on it, he's actually on vacation this week till Wednesday, so we'll probably talk to him on Thursday again, see where they're at, and then we're at the mercy of when they can do it, so.
Okay.
Shouldn't take too much, though.
Tammy, were we thinking about like doing a Facebook post or something for the water?
Oh, yeah, for the water usage? Yes.
Yeah.
We do have a chart that kind of shows the water usage, and then we can explain that it needs to be at 1.6 million gallons for 3 days, and then we'll go on to the level 2.
A strong reminder of the odd, even schedule to try to catch some of these violators.
Get back to the website too for more information.
Anything else? Not, I'd entertain a motion to move into executive session for a legal matter. Motion and second to move into executive session at 6:28 PM for a legal matter. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.